His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj will be here, so we're on a very ecstatic program, starting with Harinam on July 5th and going non-stop with Chandan Yatra and with Abhishek of the big deities. So if you are here, please come. If you're not here, please tell your friends, families to be part of this wonderful occasion. It'll be a lot of fun. A lot of kirtanes are coming, so we're going to have a wonderful program for that. Without taking too much time, I think, very blessed. There's a very special guest all the way from Vrindavan Dham. His great Mukunda Prabhu. Haribo. Prabhuji is a very amazing personality, senior disciple Prabhupada. At 15 years of age, he joined ISKCON, and since then he's been serving various capacities. He's been in Vrindavan Dham for more than 30 years, right, Prabhuji? More than 30 years living there, so he's a Dhamvasi. So anytime Dhamvasi come, we should always bow before and take blessing, Brajraj. He's very learned. He's a member of Shastric Advisory Council for ISKCON GBC and translating books from Sanskrit to English for BBT. He's a personality with a combination of very beautiful singing, which we hopefully will sing, listen. He's a musician, learned scholar, and a wonderful pujari who's expert in deity worship. And he's a very, very easy to meet, talk to person who can really guide you in your spiritual life. I was very fortunate yesterday to have association with him. So we are very fortunate that a special devotee is here all the Vrindavan Dham, His Grace Mukunda Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And of course our Sama Prabhu is here. We all know Sama Prabhu, who was instrumental in bringing these deities, Nitai Gaur Sundar, and on the old temple, 1976, he was here when Shri Prabhupada arrived here. Sama Prabhu. So we'll be celebrating 50 years of Nitai Gaur Sundar with Sama Prabhu. He's going to share some beautiful stories during that time. So thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना जय यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपद परमहंस प्रकटकाचार्य स्तोत्र श्री श्रीमद शिल अभय चरणानंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री ठाकुर हरिदास की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासारि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय गंगा देवी की जय वनामयी की जय भक्ति देवी की जय तुलसी रानी की जय समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय इस्कॉन बीबीथी संस्थापक आचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की जय गौ प्रेमानंदे all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for coming and thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words about Krishna consciousness. Only by the mercy of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder and Acharya of this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. As always, we begin any such discussion with Mangalacharana, so we can do that now. Om Ajnanatimirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Uttaparakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam tam sajeevam Sadvaitam savadhutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Madgavirapi Gopala Svikurya Kripaya Yadi Tadaivasam Payaha Pitva Hrishayustat Priyadhanaham. In the end of his 10th canto commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam, our great Acharya Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur prays, My dear Lord Gopal, only if you accept my words as your cows will they be able to produce enough sweet milk to give pleasure to your pure devotees. So I thought that someone suggested also that we should read from the Nectar of Instruction. This is Srila Prabhupada's summary, translation really, of Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamritam. It's a wonderful little book, very practical guidebook for our spiritual life. Takes us all the way from the very beginning of faith, how to become a bona fide human being by controlling our senses, and all the way up until the most mature and profound state of love of Godhead called Krishna Prema in Vrindavan Dham, where Krishna eternally performs his pastimes. Everything we need to know from A to Z about spiritual life in just a few verses, very simple verses also, 11, not even 12 verses. So we have been reading from this book in the last several days, here and there in the Baltimore area. But tonight we can discuss text number 4, which I'll recite. Dadati pratigrihnati guhyamakhyati pritchati bhunkte bhojayate chaiva shadvidham priti lakshanam. What does it mean? Translation is, offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasadam, and offering prasadam are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami explains how to perform devotional service or devotional activities in the association of other devotees. There are 6 kinds of activities. 1. Giving charity to the devotees. 2. Accepting from the devotees whatever they may offer in return. 3. Opening one's mind to the devotees. 4. Inquiring from them about the confidential service of the Lord. 5. Honoring prasadam, or spiritual food given by the devotees. And 6. Feeding the devotees with prasadam. An experienced devotee explains, an inexperienced devotee learns from him. This is guhyam akhyati pritchati. When a devotee distributes prasadam, remnants of food offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in order to maintain our spirit of devotional service, we must accept this prasadam as the Lord's grace, received through the pure devotees. We should also invite pure devotees to our home, offer them prasadam, and be prepared to please them in all respects. This is called bhunkte bhojayate chaiva. Even in ordinary social activities, these 6 types of dealings between two loving friends are absolutely necessary. For instance, when one businessman wishes to contact another businessman, he arranges a feast in a hotel, and over the feast he openly expresses what he wishes to do. He then inquires from his business friend how he should act, and sometimes presents are exchanged. Thus, whenever there's a dealing of priti, or love, in intimate dealings, these 6 activities are executed. In the previous verse, Srila Rupa Goswami advised that one should renounce worldly association and keep company with the devotees. Sangatyagat sato vrittehe. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness has been established to facilitate these 6 kinds of loving exchanges between devotees. This society was started single-handedly, but because people are coming forward and experiencing the give-and-take policy, the society is now expanding all over the world. Does anyone know when this book was written, when Prabhupada wrote these words? 1975, just about 50 years ago. And whatever Srila Prabhupada is writing here is still true. Devotees are engaged in these activities, and the Krishna consciousness movement continues to expand all over the world. Anyone here from Delhi? Raise your hand if you're from Delhi. Okay. Kai Delhi wale hain. So this Delhi, in Delhi alone, we have 20 temples now of ISKCON. Someone was asking me, in India, which temples were founded by Srila Prabhupada? Mayapur and Kolkata, Vrindavan and Delhi, they kind of go together each. Then Mumbai, then Chennai. And Hyderabad also. Only those 5-6 temples were there. Now there are so many temples. In one city alone, there are 20 of them. So this Krishna consciousness movement is expanding, and it's expanding on the basis of love. Here Prabhupada is saying, devotees express love for one another in these 6 ways. We reveal our minds, we inquire confidentially, we offer prasad, we accept prasadam, we give gifts, we receive gifts from the devotees also in this way. So, we are glad that people are donating very liberally to the development of the Society's activities, and people are also eagerly accepting whatever humble contribution we are giving them in the shape of books and magazines dealing strictly with the subject matter of Krishna consciousness. We sometimes hold Hare Krishna festivals and invite life members and friends to participate in the feasting by accepting prasadam. Although most of our members come from the higher rungs of society, they nonetheless come and take whatever little prasadam we are able to provide them. Sometimes the members and supporters inquire very confidentially about the methods of performing devotional service, and we try to explain this. In this way, our society is successfully spreading all over the world, and the intelligentsia of all countries is gradually appreciating our Krishna conscious activities. The life of the Krishna conscious society is nourished by these 6 types of loving exchange among the members. Therefore, people must be given the chance to associate with the devotees of ISKCON, because simply by reciprocating in the 6 ways mentioned above, an ordinary man can fully revive his dormant Krishna consciousness. As in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 62, it is stated, Sangat sanjayate kama. One's desires and ambitions develop according to the company one keeps. It's often said that a man is known by the company he keeps, and if an ordinary man associates with the devotees, he will certainly develop his dormant Krishna consciousness. The understanding of Krishna consciousness is innate in every living entity, and it is already developed to some extent when the living entity takes a human body. It is stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 107, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabhanay, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Uday. What does that mean? Any Bengalis here? You want me to repeat it? Kolkata? Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabhanay, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Uday. Means that Krishna consciousness is eternally within us all. Everyone has that capacity for Krishna consciousness. It's what we are. But it has to be developed. With Indians in particular, I will go a step further and say, Prabhupada told us, Indians, he said, you just have to scratch the surface of their skin and Krishna consciousness comes out. Because it's I want to say visceral, or it's in the DNA. It's such a long acculturation. So Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem. Pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of living entities. It's not something to be gained from another source. Sadhya kabhunai. It's not at any time going to be something that comes from outside of yourself. It's already within you. Just you have to awaken it. And how do you do that? Shravanada Shuddha Chitte Karaye Uday. It's awakened by this purification of the consciousness mainly by hearing, beginning with hearing. First we hear something. What do we hear? You should chant Hare Krishna. Then what do? You chant Hare Krishna. Then you experience the fruit of that hearing. And then you remember Vishnu or remember Krishna. And then you engage in these 9 processes of devotional service that are described in the Bhagavatam. What are they? Hearing, chanting, remembering Lord Vishnu. What else? Anybody know? Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. Yes. You all know these terms, I think, so no need to translate. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, this love naturally awakens. Since Krishna consciousness is inherent in every living entity, everyone should be given a chance to hear about Krishna. Simply by hearing and chanting Shravanam Kirtanam, one's heart is directly purified and one's original Krishna consciousness is immediately awakened. Krishna consciousness is not artificially imposed upon the heart. It's already there. When one chants the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the heart is cleansed of all mundane contamination. In the first stanza of his Sri Shikshastaka, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, anybody know the first stanza of the Shikshastaka? क्या है चेतो दर्पणम अर्जुनम भवमहा दावाग्नि निर्वापनम श्रेया कैरव चंद्रिका वितरणम विद्यावधु जीवनम आनंदाम बुद्धिवर्धनम प्रतिपदम पूर्णामृतास्वादनम सर्वात्मा स्नपरम परम विजयते Shri Krishna Sankirtana. All glories to the Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It's the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we're always anxious. Not only is the chanter of the Mahamantra purified, but the heart of anyone who happens to hear the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is also cleansed. Even the souls embodied in lower animals, insects, trees, and other species of life also become purified and prepared to become fully Krishna conscious simply by hearing the transcendental vibration. This was explained by Thakur Haridas when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from him how living entities lower than human beings can be delivered from material bondage. Haridas Thakur said that the chanting of the holy names is so powerful that even if one chants in the remotest parts of the jungle, the trees and animals will advance in Krishna consciousness simply by hearing the vibration. This was actually proved by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. When he passed through the forest of Jharikhanda, at that time the tigers, snakes, deer, and all other animals abandoned their natural animosity and began chanting and dancing in Sankirtana. Of course, we cannot imitate the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but we should follow in his footsteps. We're not powerful enough to enchant the lower animals such as tigers, snakes, cats, and dogs, or entice them to dance. But by chanting the holy names of the Lord, we can actually convert many people throughout the world to Krishna consciousness. And the proof is one person. Who is that one person? Srila Prabhupada. One person. He said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave this instruction, Bharata bhumite hoilo manushya janma jar janma shartha kori koro parupakar. What does it mean? Anybody who's taken birth in Bharata Bhumi should understand you have a special benediction that other people in this world do not have. What is that? You have any sense of dharma. Even if you have the wrong sense of dharma, come you have any sense of dharma. And that puts you above everybody else in the world. Because most people have very little sense of dharma, if any. We know that we are eternal spiritual beings. We know that we are not these bodies. We know that we transmigrate from one form to another, birth after birth. This much anyone knows in India. And that cannot be said about other places. There are places in this world that people are so covered, they actually believe very strongly that they are their material bodies. And therefore, whatever their material bodies demand, they take to be absolute truth. And it causes so much problem in the world. Here the analogy is being given. Cheto darpana marjanam. Cheto darpana. Darpana means what? What is darpana? A mirror. So what happens if a mirror is covered with dust? I mean, a lot of dust, really thick dust. What happens? You don't even know it's a mirror, right? That's like atheism. They don't even know that they're a spirit soul. It's possible to get into that consciousness. And I think you wouldn't be sitting here in this room if you had that consciousness. So all of you are more elevated than that. So Cheto Darpana Marjanam. We have to cleanse this mirror while we have the chance. This short window of opportunity, how long does it last? Anywhere from 40 to 100 years. My uncle came home from work one day. He sat down to drink his coffee and read the newspaper, and his heart exploded, and he was out on the spot, instant. He was only 40 years old. On the other hand, my grandfather, he lived until he was 99 years and 11 months. Almost made it. But, within this short span of time, and believe me, as you get older, elders here can testify, it seems like time speeds up, hey now? So, this is the problem. We have a short window of opportunity to do something about this life, to use human form of life for what it's actually meant for. Kyonki ahara nidra bhaya maithunam cha. We're doing the same four things that the animals are doing. Prabhupada used to say, the animals are running around on four legs looking for sex, food, fights, and, sleep. These things. If we're doing the same thing on four wheels instead, what does it mean? It means we're virtual animals, polished animals. Dvipada pashu, the Srimad Bhagavatam says. That's pretty strong language, isn't it? If somebody calls you a two-legged animal, are you going to take that it's a pretty strong statement. But this is what Shukdev Goswami tells us. If we cannot distinguish ourselves or our activities from the animals' concerns, then we really haven't qualified as human beings. We're only biologically correct human beings. But it's not enough to be biologically correct human being. You have to be evolved in your consciousness, which means you have to have what the yogis call dharmendriya. Anybody know BKS Iyengar? He's quoting from Patanjali, I think. They have a term for this in that school. Dharmendriya, a sense of, some kind of faculty of perceiving dharma. This is the chief characteristic of the human form of life. And the best of all such faculties, or the best conception of dharma that you can get, is actually pure love of Godhead, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. What does it mean to have pure love, according to Srimad Bhagavatam? What is that pure love? Anybody can tell me? Or parodharma, we also call it. What is its characteristic? Two characteristics. No hetu, that's number one, and therefore, apratihata. There's no obstruction to that love. And there's no cessation, or there's no hetu, I mean to say. There's no agenda, no motive, no expectation in that love. It's selfless. It's causeless. And therefore it's ceaseless. That's real love. And we don't see that in this world. So it's not inaccurate to say that we really don't know what love is yet. But we can find out. All we have to do is cleanse this mirror that we're looking into. The first stage of that cleanliness is called klesha gna. You become freed from all your misconceptions and all the sufferings that result from your misconceptions. And then shubhada. You get all the auspicious benefits. If you can see the mirror very nicely, then you can see, what do I really look like? Who am I really? This is where our analogy ends. But he says, Bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam. It puts out the fire of repeated birth and death. We're all burning. We're burning with envy, right? Or we're burning with lust. Or maybe we're burning with anger, right? Or perhaps we're burning with hunger. Right? But in all circumstances, it's like a blazing conflagration. This material world is called samsara. And how does it put out that fire? Well, I'm speaking from personal experience. There's no way that you can put out a wildfire. I'm from Southern California. Every summer, the natural ecosystem is such that these wildfires they come about. Nobody sets them, but they come about. And how do you put them out? Every year in California, they invite the fire departments from the entire western half of the United States just to put out with these fires, because they can burn hundreds and thousands of acres. Very destructive. And even then, you really can't control it. Several years back, about 10 years back, there were some very bad fires near where my mother lived in Southern California. And I saw the whole sky was orange, and there was smoke everywhere. People were walking around with masks, and many people lost their homes because these fires are they're uncontrollable. So what is your situation if you're in such a fire? What's your hope? What do you do about it? Nobody knows? Huh? You can pray for it to go away. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given us a very beautiful analogy. Listen closely. He says, Sangsara davana lalihaloka. People are oppressed by the fire, the blazing forest fire of material existence. Tranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam. But the Lord has arranged for a mercy cloud to form. Because clouds, say, full of what? The Sanskrit was fancy word for cloud in Sanskrit. Jalada, sajala jalada, right? A full, water giver, cloud. And that water rains upon us like the English poet Cowper, it's Shakespeare actually said. The quality of mercy is not strained, it droppeth from heaven as if a gentle rain. Karunya ghana ghanatvam. Clouds form out of mercy of the Lord. Praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya. They're getting their water from where? Where do rain clouds get their water from? Huh? Ocean, yes. And distilled very nicely. The sun pulls the water up out of the ocean, and then it's distilled in the process. All the salt goes down, and all the water stays up. Then the clouds move wherever they're directed by the demigods, and then they distribute water wherever the karma is appropriate. But in our case, it's a different thing, because the water of this mercy is pulled out of the ocean of material existence, or out of the ocean that is Krishna, I should say. And Krishna then becomes like a rain cloud. And then the spiritual master is like the rain cloud, I should say. Krishna provides him with this mercy. The spiritual master is like the rain cloud, and the spiritual master moves throughout this world distributing mercy not according to our karma, but according to his own compassion. And all of us are sitting here today because we've been touched by this compassion. Srila Prabhupada did not have to work so hard as he did. He stayed up all night, every night, just writing these books so that we could read them, and we're such ingrates that we never even open them. It's such a hypocrisy and a shame, especially for anyone who sings, Guru Mukha Padma Bhakku Chitete Koriya Aikya Arana Kori Homani Asha. These are the words of Narottam Das Thakur. What does it mean? Whatever my spiritual master says, I want to make that the same thing that I'm cherishing within my heart as my own ideal of ideals, and without being distracted by anything else. Arana Kori Homani Asha. So the spiritual master is distributing this rain, and that only can put out the forest fire of material existence. And what is the rain? These merciful instructions that we hear in books like this one. What have we heard so far today? We've heard that the Krishna consciousness, which is innate within all of us, it is, you cannot ever delete it, actually. You can efface it for some time. You can double click on it. You can make sure that nobody ever sees it. But the program is still running. You can't get rid of it. So you can efface it, but you cannot erase it. But we should do neither in the human form of life. While we can, we should chant this Hare Krishna mantra and awaken that love of Godhead. And then we get out of this material forest fire of material existence. No more suffering. No more cancer. No more, all these things that we suffer from, pinpricks of material existence. Elsewhere in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada has written a very beautiful purport in which he says, sometimes material existence is compared to a forest fire, as we've heard already. Sometimes this material existence is compared to an ocean of suffering. And Prabhupada writes that the ocean of material existence, what is it that makes up that ocean of material existence? All the combined tears of the living entities who are suffering so intensely in this world. And someone as merciful as Srila Prabhupada has taken it upon himself. One man took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions seriously, and hundreds and thousands of people all over the world are now chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We have the opportunity now to take advantage, even 50 years divorced from Srila Prabhupada's physical proximity. We still have these books in our hands, and they're outside the temple room as well, available for sale, I should tell you. And we can take advantage of this. There's another kind of ocean. There's the ocean of material existence in which you drown in your own tears. That's not very attractive. But there's another kind of ocean, and that ocean is called the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the ocean of the nectarian rasas that you derive from this process of bhakti. And Rupa Goswami has given us this analogy. We should become like deep water fish. The aquatics swim very deep in that ocean, and they enjoy in this way. We can do this. It's so easy thing to do. We just have to hear something, and then we have to chant the holy name. And we have to try to help others by adopting this bhakti process so fully that we're just brimming with love of Godhead, and you cannot hide it. Anyone, everyone you touch will become electrified by bhakti, if this is the degree to which we ourselves embrace it. So take advantage of this opportunity. Do not waste a moment. It's not just about becoming a even a dharmic human being. Actually, everyone is seeking love only. Everyone only wants love. Nobody will take any amount of money, any amount of prestige, any amount of health or friends or support or whatever it is that you need or think you need in this world. Nobody's interested if there's no love involved. Am I right? So, we want love anyways. Why not take this eternal love that is being offered for free by Krishna and his empowered agents such as Srila Prabhupada? So here we have the 6 symptoms of love that devotees share with one another. Dadati, they give something to someone. Pratigrhnati, they accept a gift that's received in exchange. Guhyam akhyati, they may reveal something that's on their mind in confidence. You have to do this in confidence, keep it in mind. Because if it's not confidential, it'll be on the internet tomorrow morning. And you don't necessarily want your Marnama Ki Baat on the internet tomorrow morning. So you have to inquire confidentially, and Guhyam Akhyati Pritati, you have to reveal your mind and inquire confidentially both. And Bhunkte Bhojyate Cha, you accept prasadam that the devotees give you, and you offer them something to eat in return. This is love. This is how devotees exchange their love. Do not engage in exchanging these 6 activities with the non-devotees. Why do I say that? Prabhupada has mentioned in his purport, mundane business affairs, this kind of thing goes on. But if you reveal your heart to a person whose heart cannot be trusted, whose senses are out of control, whose heart is black, then you're just asking for trouble. It's kind of like, there was a tiger. This is from Hitopadesh, old story. What is the time now? 1:15. So then there was a tiger who got old. What do tigers do? They eat people, right? Anybody from Sundarbans knows that. So you don't want to necessarily make friends with a tiger. But this tiger, he became too old to hunt and he couldn't really kill anyone anymore. So what to do? He's got to maintain himself. So what did he do? He studied the Dharma Shastras. And then he's sitting on the ghat, and he's, one of these guys who puts the tilak on your forehead and, gives you blessings. And so nobody really took him seriously. But he said, no, I've reformed myself in my old age. I've attained wisdom, and I've become, a renunciate now, and I've studied all the Shastras, and I'm just here to try to rectify from my past life of sinful activities. Jaise kahte hain ki, no, what is that? No so chui khake, Billy to haj gaye. So he was saying like this. And finally one pilgrim came and he trusted him and he said, yes, I'll give you my blessings and I've fully reformed, it's guaranteed, and I can quote all the Shastras and everything. And here's even, I'm giving in charity, gold bracelet, come take it. So the person stepped closer to the tiger and there was quicksand there. And that person became stuck in the quicksand. And so what did the tiger do? The tiger, aram se, he ate the man very nicely. The motto of the Hitopadesh is that it doesn't matter how much a person speaks nicely. It doesn't matter how many Dharma Shastras he studied. It is the prakriti or the swabhava of a person that is practically, you cannot change it. You cannot become purified on a mundane level. The only way to purify your nature is by offering that nature to Krishna. What is the verse we have? Kayena vacha manasendriyarva buddhyatmana va prakritehe swabhavat yadyat karomi sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayami. Srimad Bhagavatam tells us. We have to approach the Lord and say, Kayena with my body, Vacha with my words, Manasa with my mind, Indriyahi with my senses, or with my intelligence, with my whole being, mind and body, soul. Buddhyatmana va prakritehe swabhavat, and with my whatever my conditional nature is, yad karomi sakalam parasmai. Whatever I'm going to do, impelled by any of these things, I should offer that unto you. Narayana iti samarpayami. This is how we, in other words, we take the Hrishhikas and we offer, the Hrishhika means senses, and we offer them to Hrishikesha, the Lord of the senses. And lo and behold, what happens when you do that? Your senses become purified. And we become self-realized. Here that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also said, in this way, your good fortune begins to blossom, and your life, the knowledge is enlivened, it is activated, and whatever knowledge you have is actually activated by this process of self-realization and God-realization. And anandam buddhivartanam pratipadam purnamrita asvadanam. We fully taste that sweetness that we're constantly seeking. That sweetness is love. We fully taste that. And we dive into this anandam buddhi vartanam, the ocean of bhakti rasa, which is always increasing. And sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. This chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is what affects this entire process. Simple thing. Just chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sarvatma snapanam. What does Atma mean in Sanskrit? Atma. Iska matlab kya hai? Atma. Self, what else? Body, what else? Mind, anything else? Soul, yes. So sarvatma snapana means all three of them are purified. The mind is purified, the body is purified, the very self is purified. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Not only is the chanter of this Maha Mantra purified, but the heart of anyone who happens to hear the transcendental vibration is also cleansed. So he goes on to speak about this. So here we're discussing in particular, Srila Prabhupada is very interesting in his purport. He says, contributing or distributing the holy name is a sublime example of contributing or giving charity. Dadati. Dadati means to give something. What are we to give people? Give them the holy name. Someone comes to you with a problem, you tell them, I have the solution to your problem. Just trust me. I would say whatever you have to say. Get them to chant. Jarite ke tare kaha Krishna upadesh. Amar agyai guru hai tare desh. You have to become, in effect, a spiritual master by helping people to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. By the same token, one must also follow the pratigrahnati principle and be willing and ready to receive this transcendental gift. Sometimes somebody comes and tells you something. You have to be open-minded and ready and faithful, ready to hear. Okay, yes, I haven't been doing so well in my trajectory through material existence. I've taken another birth, and here I am trying to get out. Maybe I can learn something from this person. Any Jains here? Probably not, but sometimes they come to Hare Krishna temples. Jain. In the Jain Dharma, they have a philosophical ideal. What is it called? Syadvad. Anybody knows a little Sanskrit? You understand. Syat is a verb, means it could be. Syat. So their philosophy is that, Syadvad. Whatever they hear or whoever they meet, they consider that, well, maybe this person has something that I can learn. Maybe I can learn something from this person. Maybe this person can do something for me. I'm just getting over a cold. Sorry. So we can learn pretty much from anybody. We can learn something. You may not be able to learn everything from just anybody, but you can always learn something from just anybody. So this is they have this ideal. So Prabhupada is also suggesting that. One should inquire about the Krishna consciousness movement and open his mind in order to understand the situation of this material world. Thus, the Guhyam Akhyati Prachiti principles can be served. The members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness invite the society's members and supporters to dine with them when they hold love feasts in all their branches every Sunday. Is that what we're doing today? Yes. Priti Bhojan. Bhunkte Bhojayate Chaiva. Priti se. So this is, if one really wants to attain the goal of human life, he should associate with devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement, because it is the only movement that teaches one how to develop love of God. We've talked about this already, that religion is the special function of the human being, and Prabhupada also quotes the same verse I was paraphrasing, Savai pungsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir hokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidadi. When we love in this way, without any hetu and without any interruption, that fully satisfies the self, and nothing else will do that. Nothing else will fully satisfy you. So, this is the Parodharma, and it consists of devotional service to Lord Krishna, adhokshaja. If the members of human society actually want peace of mind, tranquility, and friendly relations between men and between nations, they must follow the Krishna-conscious system of religion by which they can develop their dormant love for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As soon as people do so, their minds will immediately be filled with peace and tranquility. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur warns all devotees engaged in broadcasting the Krishna consciousness movement not to speak to the impersonalists or Mayavadis, who are always determined to oppose such theistic movements. The world is full of Mayavadis and atheists, and the political parties of the world take advantage of Mayavad and other atheistic philosophies to promote materialism. Is it not a fact? We were discussing this afternoon. The character of Hinduism changed about 100-something years ago, or a little over that, because all British educated Hindus, they all decided that they were going to tweak Hinduism, and they invented so many reform movements that are now the prominent and widely accepted mouthpieces of Hinduism. I won't name names, but they espouse such ideals as, any path you take, it's all going to end up in the same place. Or they say things like, Christian or Islam or, whatever, any kind of religion you take, it's all the same thing. Buddhism even, they include. In other words, it's all one. This is the Mayavad aspect. And then there's just the outright materialism, that they don't even deal with God. They just deal with, feel-good ideologies of various sorts. So, but the Mayavad is probably the most prominent, and some form of pseudo-Mayavad is usually dominant. If you're looking for spirituality on the internet, I talked to one person in Tijuana, Mexico, very nice, educated young man, very intelligent also, and very sincere about spiritual life, but the only thing he could find on the internet about spiritual life were the teachings of a Mayavadi businessman from Coimbatore, who tells him that there's no God, or that God doesn't matter, or that, you are God, or, that the Tantra is the ultimate goal, or so many things. People are being cheated like this. So the British are the ones who affected this, because when they had imperialist designs on the South Asian subcontinent, they privileged people like Max Mueller and others to present a skewed version of Hinduism that stresses impersonalism. And they told Hindus that, you people, you accept Shankaracharya as your pope, and your teaching is Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. This world is false and Brahma alone is real. So just let us run your country for you because you're not interested in these things. And you can be absorbed in Brahman and we will take charge of the country. So in this way, the whole character of Hinduism was tweaked for mundane motives. And that still goes on among the politicians, as Prabhupada mentioned here. They like to take advantage of Mayavad and other atheistic ideologies in order to exploit people, sometimes even in the name of equity, sometimes even in the name of being liberal or equal to all. In the name of liberating people from exploitation, they carry out exploitation. So there's only two kinds of people in this world, actually. Vanchita, those who are cheated, and Vanchaka, those who are cheating. Shri Shri Radha Malava ki jai. Shri Shri Gaurnitai Jagannath Balaram Subhadra Devi ki jai. Okay. It looks like we're out of time, and I'm going to stop now. But if anybody has any questions or comments, it would be nice if we could finish the purport, but it's a couple of more pages. So, yes, Prabhuji. You need a microphone? Nahi to jor se boliye.
First of all, I enjoyed thoroughly your class. I can tell because my mind was not flickering, just focusing on what you're saying. So toward the end of your class lecture, you said, no more cancer.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Maybe you can explain more about it.
Sorry?
Somewhere you said, no more cancer.
That's just an example.
Yeah.
There are
Some
so
people
many
may not
miseries.
understand it.
There's so many miseries in this world. We have miseries coming from our own bodies and our own minds, especially from our minds. And we have miseries coming from fate, like droughts, floods, the hurricanes. You just had one, right? And we have miseries that are coming from other bodies, either human or non-human. But these are just small manifestations. COVID-19 is one such misery caused by other bodies, little tiny virus, but look how much havoc it did. You know, Chinese Communist Party is another such adibhotic misery. And, you know, we have, there's so many things. Cancer is one example. A few years before we had AIDS, I think that's probably still going on. These are all various kinds of miseries, but you cannot get around these miseries. If you're in material existence, especially if you're in the material consciousness that perpetuates material existence, you're going to suffer. There's no way around that. That's all. I just was not trying to be anything specific, just general. This material world is a miserable place. Dukhalayam shashvatam, Krishna says. Oh yeah, you have a question also? Pink shirt.
Just wanted to know what kind of striving led you to Krishna consciousness.
What kind of?
Striving or seeking.
Okay. Well, yeah, people always ask this question, so I'm prepared. I actually grew up just a few blocks away from our temple in Los Angeles. It wasn't there when I was born, but it came soon. And by the time I was 10, it was up and running, thriving. So I don't remember a time that I didn't know about devotees or about ISKCON or about Krishna consciousness in general. But I was pious as a kid. In fact, I wanted to be a priest. And anyway, that's another thing. But gradually I became drawn more and more to Hinduism early on. And I became a vegetarian. I was practicing yoga. And ISKCON is just down the street, so I was checking out ISKCON as well. But I couldn't understand them until I grew a little older. Because we had the books, but we only used to appreciate the pictures and the prasadam. But when I actually started to read Prabhupada's books, I had read many other editions of Bhagavad Gita. I started studying Sanskrit also at that early age. And I had read other editions of Bhagavad Gita, but I couldn't understand them. Why? Because the publishers didn't understand them. Evam parampara praptam, Krishna says. This thing has to be received from a parampara. And Prabhupada did that. Others did not do that. Hamari Bhagavad Gita mein koi vishesh shakti hogi ki so many people have changed their lives radically to adopt Krishna consciousness. And when I read Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, it was like somebody turned on the lights. Instantly, my every question was answered. It was a comprehensive practice. I could understand he was speaking very authoritatively. The whole Sanskrit is laid out very clearly. The purports are there. In the some half century or so since that time, I've also studied those purports in the original commentaries of our predecessor acharyas, and most of the time Srila Prabhupada is merely paraphrasing what they've said. He's not adding anything or subtracting anything from that message. So it's Bhagavad Gita as it is. In the beginning, that struck me as a very presumptuous title, and I wasn't impressed. But then I read the book, and I experienced the result of that transparent transmission. And I had to surrender. I became a devotee. So, since then I've, only had that faith confirmed many, many times over. I just consider myself to be a very lucky recipient of one of those raindrops of mercy. That Prabhupada made the decision to come and help all of us. That means you. I never had any personal association with Srila Prabhupada very much. I only saw him once or twice. I offered flowers to him once. And, never got any personal instructions. Everything that I was born and raised and am still sustained by his books. So that's why I always like to emphasize on the importance of studying these books. Even though the only books people read in 2024 is Facebook and maybe books about C++. But do they still use C++? I don't know. Java, okay, whatever. Anyway, so, the point is that all of us have the same opportunity and effect that I've had. And, there's really no reason why we can't become fully Krishna conscious, because Prabhupada has left everything for us. Everything is there for us. We just have to take the austerity of assimilating and applying and then sharing whatever we've learned from Srila Prabhupada. Is that okay? In a nutshell, that's my story. Okay, something else? Yes.
Do you have any conception that our Supreme God and they are coming from the other planet?
I'm sorry?
Our Supreme Gods, they are coming from the other planet to this earth.
Do I have any opinion about whether the Supreme
Yes.
Court members are
Yes.
coming from another planet? No, I can't say I have an opinion about that. Thank you. Thank you for asking, though. Okay, anybody else? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Very nice nectarian class, Prabhuji. Really, we all enjoy. I have one question, Prabhuji. Like you mentioned, example on Northern California forest fire, and in Midwest we see a lot of hurricane and tornadoes. In southern state you see a lot of rain and flooding.
And
Why this thing is happening? Lord is
the alligator.
Lord is so merciful, and we are, seeing in U.S. especially, a lot of disaster and situation is coming,
Yes. So what's your question?
So what the reason?
Oh, the reason is that we're in the material world. And we're not particularly pious at this stage of our, I want to say, should we say evolution? Maybe devolution? I don't know. But, to the degree that we are pious, then even this material world, which is certified as a nasty, miserable place, it can be relatively tolerable. But when we become impious, then those miseries just increase exponentially. And we can't expect to have a good time. You're not meant to have an easy time in this world. We're meant to be poked by the tridents of Maya. Right? Durga Devi is carrying a Trishula. Who's that Trishula meant for? Us. And what are the points of that Trishula? Adibhautik, Adhyatmik, Adidhaivik Klesh. There's so many miseries. It has to be this way here in this world. But it doesn't have to be as bad as it is. That's my point. We're pungently impious in the modern age. And we just shoot ourselves in the foot with our own impiety. So, Krishna consciousness, fortunately, wakes us up to the extent that we can consider that maybe I should be pious after all. Because consider, there's really no such thing as Vikarma yoga, right? We hear about karma yoga, but there's no such thing as Vikarma yoga. You can't maintain an impious life in this world and expect to become happy, what to speak of Krishna conscious. What does Krishna say? Na sukham na param gatim. Anybody can remember that verse? Now it's escaping me. No, this isn't the end of chapter 16. Yes. If you just dismiss all the authorities that have guided humanity since time immemorial and try to act whimsically according to your own concoctions or sinful desires even, you're not going to become happy. What is it? No. Vartate kamakarata. Nasasiddhim avapnoti. Yeah. You cannot get perfection, you cannot become happy, and you're certainly not going to go back to Godhead. So that's why we're suffering. Because we're impious, and we take it to be normal. You go outside and you see any major artery of traffic in the United States, what are you going to see? You're going to see, McDonald's, and you're going to see this and that. And every so many places, they're killing their mothers and eating them. What do you expect to be happy if you eat your own mother? What kind of human being is that? So this is the problem. Therefore, yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanva moha nirnamukta bhajanti mantrahavarta. People, Krishna says, can sustain a mature commitment to pure devotional service if they're pious. So it's a good idea to be pious. Okay, we're probably over time now. We're okay, so thank you all very much. All glory to Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for a wonderful class. So